All right, welcome to this story about this drum set. My name is Richard, and very interested in these Noble and Cooleys. This is the very first Noble and Cooley set that was made in the late 1980s. Bob Gatzen was the designer behind these drums, and they were called the Classic SS. And Bob developed them in coordination with Noble and Cooley, and basically the tom-toms are solid maple one-ply shells, and the bass drum is a multiple-ply maple shell bass drum. These are all made in the Massachusetts Noble and Cooley factory. None of the shells were outsourced; they were all made there. Originally, the kit came with a 10-inch tom, a 12-inch tom, 14-inch floor tom, and a 20-inch bass drum. There was a matching snare drum, but I don't have that. There's also a number of other toms. Back here we have a 12 by 14 tom, as well as the 14 by 14 floor tom. So there were other toms. There was probably a 13 at one point, and that's long gone. I think what happened also is that early on, they were never meant to be used with typical conventional tom mounts. So when they were put together, they were originally outfitted with the chrome-plated rims mount systems that Gauger was putting out at that time, which later on DW purchased, and you can still buy those from DW. This drum set is now outfitted with the current model of Gauger rims isolation systems, which are made out of aluminum and are more low profile. What happened is that when they first developed this drum set in the 1980s, they introduced the rims mounts, and this drum set was fully outfitted with rims mounts. At some point, after about a year or two of it being manufactured, the rims mounts were pulled off and used on another project, and because of that, the drum set was no longer really easy to get to or set up, so they never got used. The drums are like in brand new condition. They're in unbelievably clean condition. I wouldn't say mint, but they're very close to it, like a 9.5 out of 10. They're finished in a black lacquer. It's a nitrocellulose lacquer. It's not a polyurethane coating, so it has kind of a little bit of a textured look to it, kind of like an old Gibson Les Paul Black Beauty. And they're just amazing drums. Bob Gatzen was an amazing developer, and because they didn't have rims mounts on them, they sat around for a long time. I recently purchased these from the Bob Gatzen family estate. The bass drum had been set up to be used with the drum frame, which was Bob Gatzen's design as well. So they had removed the spurs, and they had done some things to the hoops. We've returned it back to original configuration, and both the front and back heads on the bass drum are the original Evans CAD-CAM heads that Bob used on the set. All the rest of the drums have new Remo Emperor coated heads, which I really prefer, and Remo Ambassador clears on the bottom. The floor tom has a cradle on it to suspend it with legs, because I like a conventional floor tom. I don't like suspended floor toms. They're never any fun. And then over here we have Bob Gatzen's personal black, which call it the Zildjian cast alloy snare drum. This drum was presented in the January 1989 NAMM show, and I have a picture of Bob and Jay Johnson, the current president of Noble and Cooley, at the NAMM show with this particular snare drum. And it's in just an amazing condition, and it still has some of Bob's little writings on it and stuff like that. So it's an incredible drum set. And then lastly, I have over here, I have one of Bob's cymbal cases. This is Bob Gatzen's personal cymbal case. I bought a bunch of cymbals from their estate, and the case came loaded up with a couple of really nice Zildjians and stuff. And I gotta say something, these are probably the best sounding drums I've ever played. The tom-toms are just incredibly resonant, and the snare drum is just as lively as they get. It's just amazing. It's an amazing drum kit, and this will be up for sale soon on my eBay site, and if anybody's interested, they can contact me. But this is an amazing opportunity to buy the very first Noble and Cooley drum set ever made by the Noble Cooley Drum Company. That was with the solid maple shells. Again, it's the classic SS series is what they call these, and they have the lugs that are consistent with the classic SS drums. Later on, they came up with what they called a Horizon series and then the Star series, and those used a different type of lug casing. But these have the brass 1-point nodal casings. On the bass drum, it has a 2-point lugs. But all the tom-toms, the floor toms and the 2 ride toms, both have the single-point nodal lugs, the classic SS lug. So, anyways, that's about it from me. I'm not going to play a whole lot with them because they're really loud. They'll overdrive the microphone. They're so incredibly powerful. But I can't say how excited about this. This is an amazing opportunity to have a unique, one-of-a-kind drum set that has a lot of historical significance, but it also is an amazing sounding kit, and they're incredibly well preserved. So, thanks.